All right, so we are on the last paragraph on page Kuf Nun Gimel. And we are dealing with that which was introduced in the first, in the paragraph and before it. The Rebbe says we need to try and identify you can talk Lahavin and Abina level, the difference in terms of its effect on the world between the makif hakloli as it is in a pristine state before the tzimtzum to the law, and makif hakloli after the tzimtzum. And we discussed yesterday, and before, between various Mishonim, to point out to what this is referring to, and why it is difficult to identify what its effect is, and on the other hand, that it's imperative that it has an effect on the world. We pointed out the various illustrations from our simple world. And in simple terms, makif has a very profound and important effect on the goings out on the practical level. Even though it is makif, which is remote, and it's called makif hakloli, very remote. It's a completely different level of reality. Coming back to our world, this would be, pardon me, tantamount to asking the question, how does the sky affect what's going on Earth? All right, so let's continue. Behold, excuse me, let me just start this work.
Amen.
A human being made an effort to bring it, so you have to take it. Piyula zamakib de tirotator. The effect of the makib of tirotator. Tirotator means the lower level of tehiro, of the purity, of the divine purity, which means that which is after the tzimtzum. After the tzimtzum, we already identified, to the extent possible, that it means that world has already been projected. This is what the tzimtzum is about, is for, in order to facilitate the creation of world. And at this point, the world has been projected to the extent that it's recognized there has to be a tzimtzum to create a world. That is still a complete makif. It is complete remote, and it encompasses inherently all that world can possibly represent. The next word, the hainu, which would mean, in direct terms that identifies it, it is bechinas machshava hagduma de'ak. This is what's identified and called in Kabbalah, machshava hagduma, the pristine thought of Ak, of Odom Kadmon. We touched it yesterday, but we didn't have a chance to get into it. What do these words, machshava hagduma, conjure up to? What is it? What does this tell us? What is it talking about? How is this an identification of what we're asking for? So we started yesterday a little bit to point out that we, in our superficial view, equate thought with Sechel. Where in fact, they're very, very different madrigas completely. Sechel is that which emanates directly from the neshama. Thought is that which develops by analyzing the situation. Let me demonstrate this. If you enter somebody's home, enter a room, whatever it is, you instantaneously have a sense of respect for the environment in which you are. And you will not start moving things around or destroying things, because out of respect for the environment. And it is not due, here's the point, it is not due for your recognizing that if you move this table, you're going to disturb something. You're going to be offending something. How dare you move this table? It was put there by the Gavai. This is not what comes up to your mind. In other words, it is not a thought, an identifiable thought that tells you, do not disturb things. It is a seichel, it is an inherent recognition of a respect of reality. It is not a projection as to what the result of not move would be. It's inherent, it's just the initial truth of it itself. In contrast, what is thought? Thought is that which is identified by a certain process. What will happen if this happens? If I do this, what will be the result? So thought is a procedural thought process. It's called thought process. You begin with a question, and then you go to the answer to that question, then you go to the next question, then you go to. It's a development. It's a gradual development of a recognition of a situation. Sechel does not go through that process at all. Sechel recognizes the reality from its reality perspective. That means we had the whole discussion yesterday. Sechel is literally a divine gift for the human being to be able to identify the reality itself, not the consequence of an action. This reality itself is part and parcel of the divine truth, of the source. This is not a world level presence. This is a divine level presence. The reason that this level exists is because the world itself was created by the Creator. Let us take it to our level, to a human level. If you come into a home again and you have respect for it, it is not the house and its physical structure that you respect. It is the fact that this, all that you're seeing, you see immediately the person who put it together. You see immediately the human effect. So it's a completely different thing. It's not the physical entity itself. It is what brought it to be. The same is true in our observation, recognition of the world, and we're awe-stricken by the world, not by the world per se, by the one who brought it into it, by the one who projected it, who planned it, who projected, gave it his perception, his sense of value. This is what strikes us when we open our eyes and see the world. This striking, which comes after that we open our eyes, this is already at the level of machshov. You do not see the Creator himself. You see the effect of his plan. And trace it back to the Creator is a process. This is called machshava. Machshava is a thought process. How a certain truth is translated on a functional level. How did it happen to be? This is the beginning of world. Just as in human beings. The beginning of action is machshava. Without going to thought, you cannot come to an action. But I know, Sechel knows, and the instrument knows, it does not going to translate in action.
It is not?
It's not going to translate in action. This is called makif, that has to do with world, not very good. But here at all, that's called the lower level of the divine purity. Where yes, indeed, it is purity. It is viewing a view from the divine perspective, but not the divine perspective as it is devoid of any structure. Like we said in the motion. You look at the house, it's really good, but you recognize it because you recognize the structure. You recognize that something came to be to make it happen like this. This is not the way it was born to begin with. Notice, this is why we started from the sky. When you enter a home, even if you didn't see how it came to be, you have certain ideas what the home is about. Open your eyes and look at the sky. Blank. Total blank. What is that about? What does that tell you? That is because the sky represents a completely different level. Not a machshava process. It's not a procedural thing. It's part of the reality of the world itself. That's a different kind of makif. This is Milo, this is sky and earth. Earth has to do with process and producing objects. The sky is it's a makif. It provides for it. What it provides for it's a completely different, a remote effect. Despite that, it's a remote effect. The sky has a phenomenal effect on Earth. I mentioned many times, I don't know, to one example, if you did not see the sky, you could not make a step on Earth. The sky is what enables you to move around on Earth. Not for the sky, you'd be crawling on Earth, not walking. You couldn't stand up. What's holding you up? Do you understand that? All right. This is what the Rebbe said. What is the effect of makif? The law of makif. The hand begins which is the machshava adum, the pristine thought. He become to thought rather than the sechel and the chayes and the key. The thought, the fact that chayes and akiyot have been translated on the thought level. The thought is the beginning of action. And this is called the ak. Ak means odom kadmai. What is odom? Odom is the human being, which is the prize creation in the whole creation. Prize creation. And what is unique? What do you identify with the word odom? It has everything. It has a whole world, but within a structure. He has Sechel, and then can be in Sechel itself. He has different levels in Sechel.
Machshava Kduma, the Adam, the Ak. Why not the Boire Oilam?
No.
Who's thinking here?
No. This is why it's very careful that we should not. The Boirei Oilam does not act to action, to machshava.
Right. On the other hand, we are still talking about creation of world, or no?
Yes, but that is when he removed himself. That's what it seems. He removed himself. And allowed a world level presence.
As if to say, he gave over creation of the world to this Ak.
He gave over, or he created Ak in order to enable the creation. He didn't give over. This is a step towards creation.
Right, but the prime mover has suddenly become some kind of primal man rather than.
No, he doesn't become a primal man. He gets his input. He gets his mandate from the source. Just as in our motion of thought, you go into a home and in your thought you identify all the things that's in the house based on and the whole and a function of a home surfaces. But where is that? What begins that whole process? You don't know what this is about. So what are you thinking about? What begins the whole process is the recognition that there's something real here. This is higher than thought.
Right.
This is the Sechel itself.
Right. In the mashal, is the man entering the home and observing or acknowledging. In the nimshal,
In the Nimshal, it is the divine will to create a world. He doesn't get his information from the world. He creates it according to his will. In order to create it, the will had to be translated in midas, in rot, in oinig, in sechel, and then machshava.
Well, if, as you're saying here, makif tata, right? Is this thought
Makif.
process? Is this makshava, right? That's a thought. It's like the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
And you differentiated that from sechel. Sechel
Yes.
is more like an assumption, a belief, a value, right? It's as you were stating in entering the house, you know, there are certain assumptions.
Sechel exists before you enter the house.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There are assumptions that you have about certain things which make you operate a certain way.
I have to correct you. It's not even assumptions about things.
So,
The Sechel is representative of the. This is why we had a whole discussion yesterday. We have to understand that there is a divine truth that precedes all plans.
right. So that's a belief system, man.
This is known on the level of belief.
And so when we're dealing with belief system, when we're dealing with that kind of belief system, so to speak, as you're saying in terms of sechel, what level is that?
Belief is not a system. Belief is that which emanates from a real presence, from an etzem.
Okay. So let's strike out system and just say belief. Okay. So the belief.
I take this cup, put it down, and it stands there. What does that conjure up in your mind? I'm sure if I put it up, it will stand. Why will it stand? So, being an educated man, you'll say, because gravity holds the table cup down. But this is not what comes to your mind when you put the cup down. I'm now rendering the cup to gravity. That's not what happens. What am I doing? I know that this table and the whole world, it stands on the head and ready to serve me. And I identify what service I need, and it is ready and ready to do it. This is how I relate.
And so trying to understand then makif the Torah ilah, right?
Oh no, maybe okay. We have to come to that. This is Torah.
And so where does sechel fit in then?
Sechel was the statement that the world is ready to serve.
Yes. Sechel is the neshama of the thought process. like
Okay.
I said, like we say over here.
Like the
I
hanger.
have an explanation how come it stands, but I have a seichel that's higher than that.
Mm.
The reason I put it down is because I have a deeper perception of that. This is there. It's going to hold it.
Like the hanger that you put things on. It's like a hanger, so to speak, that you
No,
put things
it's
on.
much more than hang. It's there for my services. It's there for that purpose. The reason a human being feels so comfortable in the world is because the Rebbe had rendered the world to him. He is a boy, he can do anything he wants in the world.
Right, and that sense of comfort is a makif. This is the lower makif,
That's right.
which is a seichel, not a machshava. It's a paradigm.
No,
It's not
a
a
machshava drawn upon Sechel. Because when you say I'm going to put the cup down, that's thought.
yeah.
But your assuredness,
Yeah, your readiness
that
to
is
do
gonna,
it.
that is going to stand.
Your
is
certainty.
not machshava.
That's already seichel.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are talking to each other with words, but we're not communicating on words level. Not trying for you to recognize the structure of my words. That's not what I'm communicating.
No, I mean, it was helpful to me when you said Sechel is the neshama of machshava. That, okay.
So, if that was helpful to you, then we are on the same page. Excuse me. And this is called Bechinas HaMachshava Hakduma Deyak. The pristine Machshava. Hakduma means the original Machshava. The first level of thought, which is in what's called Odom Kadmon.
This is what's called? What is what's called?
Makif to Tiratato is Machshava Hakduma Deyak.
Oh, really? I thought we just established makif is preceding thought. It's the context. It's the certainty.
There's two levels in Makif.
And the lower one is already thought?
Yeah,
Okay.
can be said. The lower one is one that already has a projected world, which is in thought. All right, this is only the beginning. All right, let's start again. V'hine below, you may lose track of when we started with. Pe'ulas ha'makif netilat haTorah. The pe'ulas, the effect of the makif of this level, it's called netilat haTorah. What is netilat haTorah by definition? Open it up. Hainu bechinas machshava hakduma deyak. This is the pristine thought of the level of Ak, Odom Kadmon. Odom Kadmon means pristine, before there was any real creation. The thought that is the direct result of the Sechel itself. Yesh lema, it could be said, meaning if we want to identify and explain the pe'ula, the effect of this makif, of nirtato, yesh lema, it can be explained on following basis. Api masher kosu, masher means boy b'mokim macher, based on what is explained elsewhere. Masher Omer, and this is what it says in the Pasuk. B'chol koimo lefonecho tishtachave. B'chol koimo, and all upstanding entities. Koima means like a person stands up in full regalia, in full form. All upstanding things lefonecho, before you tishtachave bows. Even though it's a koimo, and it has its structure and its presence, lefonecho, before you tishtachave, it bows down. What is this koimo? Hainu bechinas tziyur koimo de odam kat. This whole koimo refers to the tziyur koimo. The tziyur, the form of the koimo of the upstanding presence of ak odam kat. Okay, I'm going to try and go forward. If anybody has any questions, please speak up. The minute you say koima, a standing form, really you are speaking about a created entity. The worldly.
Hello?
Yes,
I was cut off.
I'm sorry.
It was.
So listen, how come you cut him off?
It's a personal thing.
Huh?
It's personal.
Him.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
It was started to explain the Udam Kadman. First was said that like a Udam, it has a whole structure, has Sechel, he's a whole world because he has Sechel and Midas. And where does this come in the Stalshalis? We're starting to explain that, and I somehow.
The beginning of the Tirtato, of the world, begins. Were you there when you explained the principle of thought?
Yeah, I was there the whole time. I was just cut off for 2 seconds.
Okay. So in thought has a structure. A structure means that there is a top and a middle and a bottom. This is basically the form of Odom. Odom is top, which is Moyach, Sechel, the head, and then there is the body, and then there's the legs. In contrast to the animal, where the head and the tail are on the same level.